I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. There's another paid request, this time for Will. Thank you so much for that. Sorry for the lateness of it. For those interested, feel free to send a request either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. For pretty much any type of video, topic, reaction, review, randomness, what have you. With that said, this is for the 1989 film Society. And I had seen this film before and liked it, and I still liked it. It's directed by Brian Yuzna. Brian Yuzna, he worked with the late Stuart Gordon. He had directed Reanimator, and Brian Yuzna helped him with that, being a producer. And he wanted to get into directing, so he was able to get a deal with... He'll be able to direct the sequel to Reanimator. Because Stuart Gordon, I just didn't really want to do that. And the deal that Brian Yuzna made is they really wanted a sequel to Reanimator because Reanimator did fairly well. I think especially on home video. It's okay, but I need to do this film too. And they're like, okay, you can do this film as long as we get the sequel to Reanimator. You got it. And that became Bride of Reanimator, which is not as good as Reanimator, but, you know, I didn't hate the film. But I would say I liked this film a bit more than Bride of Reanimator. Because I liked the idea behind it, where it's a take on paranoia and the rich and not trusting the rich. And, you know, there's a certain line of dialogue. You don't make such a great contribution to society. Only... you don't quite know what the hell this society is. And the last 20 or so minutes is a definite crazy, weird, off-the-wall smorgasbord of special effects that you won't forget. Thanks to Screaming Mad George doing the effects. Now, this is a guy who, you look at interviews, he was an Asian guy who had this weird, crazy laugh, and he worked on films like Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. He was the effects guy that created that whole cockroach bit, which still makes me cringe in a good way, like, ugh, to this day, when the lady tries to get up and the face, like, and it's half roach, half lady, like, ugh. He also worked on The Guyver. I think he helped direct the first Guyver film, as well as the effects. And I don't know what happened to Screaming Mad George. If anyone would let me know the history of Screaming Mad George, what happened to him? Did he quit? Did he just retire? Did he not get work anymore? Like, what happened to Screaming Mad George? Because he was a pretty gruesome but talented effects guy. And it seemed like he deserved to be part of bigger projects. Again, was he just not given the chance? Did he say, fuck it, I don't want to deal with the politics? Was it something worse happen? Like, what happened to Screaming Mad George. But the story of the film, you have this guy played by Billy Warlock, which I think this guy was on the TV show Baywatch, and he worked quite a bit with soap operas. He's a guy who, his family is high society, rich, a mom, a dad, a sister, and this guy, he's having these hallucinations, like seeing worms in an apple, all this stuff. And he doesn't quite know what's going on, and he's, like I said, having these weird hallucinations. He goes to see the psychiatrist, and he complains about his family, how they don't approve of me. You know, I would not be surprised if I'm adopted. And strange things starts happening. And it has a take on paranoia. And, you know, don't trust the rich. You know, again, there's another piece of dialogue where you're a different race. You're a different class. And it does kind of showcase how the rich people can look down on you as if you're just a different race, that you're far beneath them, that you're not even part of the same species. And sadly, you just say that for today's age as well. And a lot of weird stuff starts happening. Stuff that you're like, is that really what it is? Like, he goes to find his sister, and she's showering, but he notices that her ass is here, but yet her tits are here. And it's like, wait a minute. Her tits, and look down, there's her ass. Something's not up here. But then it's like, what the hell? What are you doing? And, you know, she looks normal. And he's like, okay, it must be my imagination. Must be my imagination. And then it kind of amps up more and more. Like, his sister's ex-boyfriend thinks there's something going on. Has a tape recorder that has some weird stuff. Sounds like a murderous orgy. There's people that are disappearing. He's getting confused by his family's reaction to certain things. There's people who he thinks he's finding dead, but then they're not really dead. And really his only ally is this buddy, whose name is Milo. Which I didn't mind him. I guess maybe I would have liked a bit more scenes with him. Maybe because I liked the little back and forth banter, even at the beginning of the film. You know, you're so high... I'm trying to remember the phrase. Like, you're so perfect, but I bet when you graduate, you don't assassinate the president. Like, something to that effect. Like, said better than I did. Like I said, I didn't mind the little back and forth. Again, I didn't mind the actors for who they were. There's not a lot of people that are really recognized in this, though. There's also this girl, which, to be honest, kind of made me dislike the lead character a bit, because he cheats on his girlfriend. And granted, the girl he cheats on is hot, but still, it's like, dude, you're cheating on your girlfriend. That's really shitty, no matter what. So it was kind of hard. I still sympathize, you know, I still liked the lead character, but not as much as I could have. Again, because you did fucking cheat on your girl. And then when the girl calls her out on it, it's like, yeah, it's your fucking fault, asshole. Don't cheat on your girlfriend. Although technically, by doing it, it saved his life, so I just do cheat on your girlfriend, because if you cheat on your girlfriend, it may be with a girl who then will fall in love with you, and then when you're in the middle of a fucking weird shunting orgy bath with a different species, that girl is with a different species, she may help save your sorry ass. So go cheat on your girlfriend. Otherwise, if he didn't do that, he'd be fucked. Literally. In ways you don't want to imagine. And there's definitely some weird bits of humor. Like the one girl's mom. I'm like, is that her supposed to be... She calls her mom, but the girl looks like she's only like 3 years older. Like an older sister. Not a mom. I'm like, okay, maybe that's not supposed to be her mom, because it doesn't look like a mom. Again, like, she's almost the same age as you guys. But I think Mrs. Carlin, she likes hair, and she likes to touch hair. And I think she even likes to eat hair. And she doesn't talk. She just almost grunts. Ugh, has this look on her face. Just like what the fuck? But I mean, I don't know how I felt about that. I mean, I can't really say I disliked her. I don't know if I was really laughing about her, what she was doing, but I guess kind of like, okay, that's how it is. I just really want to watch this. I didn't really have a lot of issues, except a bit of the ending. I thought the way it ended seemed a bit abrupt. I will say that. The thing with this film, I would say it's a lot of build-up. If it didn't have the finale that it had, which is fairly fulfilling for makeup effects guys, people who love body horror, a bit of that David Cronenberg type of body horror, but this is definitely in a more of a comedic effect, again with the help of Screaming Mad George's effects. If it didn't have that, I don't know if this would have the cult status it has. Just the first hour and change, it's not bad. I mean, Billy Warlock, when there's a point where he gets drugged and taken, and then he's found he's been officially made dead, and then he goes in to want some answers. Okay, he finally got a bit of balls. They dropped a little bit. That's cool. He's do some stuff. But it's really a lead up to the third act. And I think it was interesting to see where it was going. Again, the cast had in mind. But spoiler alert for the third act. So he wants to find out what's going on. Boom, he's in the middle of all these people that apparently have been playing him from the get-go. His psychiatrist, his parents aren't really his parents, his sister isn't really his sister. Apparently they've been grooming him to be a feast for the shunting. And what the fuck is shunting? When I was watching Slither, I said there's a point in Slither, the film with Michael Rooker and Nathan Fillion, that when people, they get to the big Michael Rooker creature at the end, they get on it and then kind of blend into it. I'm like, I've seen this before, but I can't put my finger on it until now. And it was done a bit better in this. I don't mind Slither, but this is even more fucking crazy. I don't even know how the fuck to describe this. They did another person and make Billy Warlock and his character watch. People are feeding on the guy, but when they're feeding on him, like the mouth goes back and stretches. It's like a horror. Imagine a horror, body horror, gory version of Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four. And like the mouth stays attached, but it's going back and stretching out. The skin stretching out. There's stuff, people melding into each other. And yes, there's even a guy with a cigar in his mouth. Everyone's got all this icky looking goo on them. You know, like a baby would have right out of the gate after being born. he drills his fist between the guy's legs. You get new term to fisting. Thankfully, you don't see, that. But it's so far, the hand comes out of the guy's mouth. But the way the effects are done, it's like, what the fuck? But it's also trying to be more comedic, but while also being gruesome. Just because how everyone's just so rubbery, gives new term to rubber face. And just this crazy shit where he's trying to escape, and there's a guy, and in one instance, the fucking head is like a giant hand. Where he finds his family, and there's his mom, the torso, but in the crotch is his sister's head, and is walking on hands, not feet. And then there's his dad, but the face is on an ass. And he's like, I guess you're right, son. I am a butthead. What drugs they were on, I don't know, but it was the 80s, so could very well be cocaine. And maybe that's what people in Hollywood need more. They need more cocaine. There's even a point where our lead fights a guy who's been like the bully asshole throughout it. He's getting his ass kicked, but he does get one final move, and it's a fucking fatality, Mortal Kombat style. Goes all the way up, and then puts his fucking fist all the way up the guy, that his thumb comes out of the guy's mouth, his fingers come out of the guy's eyeballs, the eyeballs pop out, and so imagine a face with no eyes, and like the fingers are the eyes, the thumb's in the mouth, and he pulls the bully creature, because that's the whole thing. These are like a race of creatures. And the leads, are you aliens? No, we're not. We're not from outer space or anything. But we've been here as long as you have. So it's a race of creatures who think of themselves, they're high society. Better than you. Which there's a lot of political stuff if you get into that, but I'm not going to. But it does make for a bit of an interest to it. Done more fascinating than shit they would do nowadays. But yeah, it pulls the fucking bad guy inside out. I'm like, holy shit. So the party's stunned. Lead guy's leaving. His best buddy has arrived. The girl, who's also one of them, who helped him, which part of me is like, do I really buy her? I wish they put a bit more story as to why she decides to help him. Like maybe a bit more development of her character, or a bit more moments of seeing her by herself, where she doubts, but I guess they couldn't do that because it would spoil certain things about the ending. They do put like moments where she's looking, she's not really comfortable, but I don't know, maybe just something a bit more to make her transition to one of the good guys a bit more smoothly. I'm not quite sure how you would work it in. But the three of them leave. They get in their car, they drive away. Cut to the party where someone makes a joke about the one that's been pulled inside out. Then the movie ends. I'm like, wow, that's a really abrupt ending. And, it's meant to be a comedic ending to end it off. Like, I'm sure audience would go, what the fuck did I just watch? It's a bit abrupt where, this could be deemed more typical, I understand, but I would have preferred a lot of these bad guys getting their comeuppance. And that's the thing, pretty much all of the society, they don't get their comeuppance. Like the family that's been fucking with our lead character, the mom, the dad, the sister, that's not really his. At least let them get a comeuppance. The best you get is he punches his father down as they leave. But it's like, the guy with the cigar who did really, they don't get much of a comeuppance. And I thought that was disappointing. Like, if the friend came in, for some reason, he had a fucking flamethrower. And then he had a spare one, gave it to the other guy. And imagine like a wild inferno of just all of these different things and weird one's backwards while the other side's forwards, and one's face is this, and one's face is this, and one's face is this, and going to town with flamethrowers. Yeah, that could be called dumbing down. But you know what? I would find that a little bit more satisfying. And that's the thing, like, okay, they leave, they get away. Makes you go, just a little bit more of, comeuppance on the bad guys. A bit more of, maybe the guy asking the girl, why did you help me? And maybe you get more of the girl's story. And plus you would give a bit more answers as to what exactly these creatures are. I just, by the end, I was left wanting a bit more, a bit longer. The ending's just a bit too abrupt. For some people, that's the joke, and that'll be the funny part of it. But I don't know, just wanted a bit more. But yeah, the acting I don't mind. The music was fine. I actually thought some of the music choices, like for the end credits, the end credits music fit with the comedic tone it ended on. Like I said, it does give that nod to the satiric edge of the high society. They look down on you as if you're a different class. You're not one of us. Exactly, you're not one of them, only in a different manner. It's one of those films, and this happens with me a lot. I'll watch a film that I don't mind. I'm not saying I have like a lot of issues with, but at the same time, something about it, it's not a film I would watch a lot. And I can't really put my finger as to why that is. So then it's like, well, Matt, how don't you, like, okay, imagine this was a 5, out of 5 stars, what do you give it? Maybe 3. 3? What did you not like about it? Not much. Then, but yet for some reason, it's like, I like the film, but I'm not much of a reviewer. I don't know. There's always something where, maybe it's that finale. Maybe that's what it is. It's like it's a crazy effects finale on that front, but I just wish there was a bit more. I wouldn't say it was set up for a sequel, but just maybe for budget they couldn't afford it. I don't know, but I didn't some comeuppance I just would like to have seen that would have been a lot more satisfying, because you're so much time with this family and you just know there's something off with them and just waiting for them to really get it, and they don't. It's like that. Like again, I would say that's the most disappointing part of it. But other than that, like I said, it's an interesting bit of story. Crazy effects by Streaming Man George, and again, an interesting concept. Interesting concept that, like I said, takes a cheap shot to the higher rich fucks. And I can't really say I shed a tear on that, because I might feel free to do that. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.